Hey everybody, the Johnny Kage here, welcoming you to another episode of the Game Cage. Today on the Game Cage, we're going to be looking at Captain Skyhawk, game for the NES, released in 1990, developed by Rare, published by Milton Bradley, who also published such other great games as Cabal and Marble Madness. And if this game looks familiar, that's because I would say it's one of those games that a lot of people can remember from their past, but can't quite remember the name of it. They just remember the gameplay. So, without further ado, let's take a look at this kind of underrated gem for the NES. As you begin the first mission, you will notice this game offers an out-of-the-ordinary isometric perspective, which attempts to give the surroundings a 3D feel. It's kind of like the FX chip for the Super Nintendo. The only problem is that you are stuck looking at these geometric shapes, rather than colorful mountains and valleys, but that's alright. We'll just use our imagination. The creators certainly did, with enemies resembling turbines and these little pyramid things I'm guessing are supposed to be turrets. Anyways, after dodging bullets and mountaintops for a couple minutes, you'll find yourself facing off against the enemy base itself. The enemy base is, well, an enemy base, at least by NES standards. There are 4 balls around the outside of what looks to be one of those giant turbine enemies, and if you get in front of any of the 4 balls, they'll shoot at you, of course. It's your job to take them out before they destroy you, and then you get the chance to take out the turbine in the center. You'll know that you hit one of them because a 500 will appear over the ball, indicating the amount of points that you get. And that seems about as good a time as any, actually, to mention that this game is more so based around your score rather than simply beating it. I mean, sure, you can be cautious and get through this game without too much trouble, but this game is great for the more competitive types. And if you want to be the guy, it ain't going to be that easy. With only 3 continues and 3 lives for each of those continues, this game can be an actual challenge to both beat and get the top score in at the same time, although you are very kindly awarded some extra lives at different point intervals throughout. The next part of the game may be its best feature, and that's the dogfighting. This is almost certainly one of the best simulations of taking down enemy fighters the NES has to offer, even better than Afterburner in my opinion, and don't even bother pissing me off by mentioning Top Gun or its sequel. This just has everything that you would want. A crosshair, a box around enemy planes which turns into a black X when you lock onto them with a missile, which is very satisfying by the way, really tight controls, and just remember, you're flying a plane so they're going to be inverted. So after all the dogfighting, it's time to restock on our missiles and purchase some upgrades if we got the credits to do so. How a fighter jet docks with the space station? I have no idea, but who am I to question video game logic? Once you dock with the station, by barrel rolling into it and timing the rotation of your plane just right with the entrance, you have 4 weapons to choose from. And sure, missiles are great, but you can only buy so many of them. That's why I prefer to upgrade my cannon. Once you get that thing up to level 5, you can just hold down the A button and destroy anything in your path. Our next mission objective is to drop off supplies! Hooray! And really, there isn't a whole lot to say about this one. The setting has changed from green to yellow, and new enemies include volcanoes and a sphinx for some reason. All you have to do is drop off the supplies in 2 well-marked points by pushing B just before you are over the target, and don't worry if you mess up because the level just wraps back around, giving you as many chances as it takes, or until you run out of fuel. After some more dogfighting and restocking on our own supplies at the space station, it's time to get back to some serious action and take out another enemy base! Yeah! Only this one starts with you moving at least twice as fast as in the previous levels, and to make matters worse, there's an enemy plane following alongside you, which will occasionally pass you up and fire shots back towards you trying to screw you over. Now, you can take out the plane if you want, but if you do destroy it, it will return shortly after. And I love the speed of this level. It's really fun and thrilling, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat, but most of the time it ends up catching up with me, and to make matters worse, after you lose a life, for some reason the level slows to the speed of the previous missions. But what can you do? Otherwise, there's nothing really different about this enemy base except for the Red Baron still being there to make things a tad more difficult. Mission 4 is a nice break after the craziness Mission 3 had to offer, and our objective this time around is to rescue a scientist. And this level is just a walk in the park, especially if you have the level 5 cannon, which I highly recommend you have by now. The enemies are mostly naval units with a few planes thrown in for variety, and after a couple of minutes of casually blowing shit up, you'll reach the prison the scientist is being held in, which you must destroy in somewhat of the same fashion as we've been taking out the enemy bases. Take out the 4 eye pyramids of doom, and then just blast away at the force field, and once you take care of that, Bill Nye jumps into your plane and provides you with the first half of the secret weapon. Because, what's an NES game without a secret weapon? Well, that's going to do it for the first half of this game. Unfortunately, the 3 mission types, along with the dogfighting and space station, are all this game really has to offer as far as level variety is concerned, but you can expect the difficulty to continually rise until you reach the final boss, but I'll let you check him out for yourself. Now, this game comes highly recommended to any retro gamer, and if you're looking to add it to your collection and don't have it for some reason, you should have no problem finding it and spending no more than probably $3 for a copy. that's going to do it for the Game Cage this week. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. This has been the Johnny Cage. Please subscribe, like, and comment if you have not, and I shall be back next week with another game to add to the cage.